This is the Mossberg 590R, Mossberg's newest version of the 590 that has a very different set of controls and layout than all of their other 590s. So to start, let's go over what is not different from other 590s. From the ejection port forward, it is basically all normal Mossberg 590. Now, things are slightly different, but nothing that is fundamentally different to the Mossberg 590 system. You still have the same kind of pump, you still have a Mossberg heat shield, you have regular Mossberg magazine tubes, and all that. And the actual bolt and all of that stuff is the exact same as a normal 590. However, that's not to say there haven't been some changes. This heat shield here, I believe, is unique to the 590R. Mossberg does sell a heat shield for their 590s, but this one is slightly different, I think, in profile, which means the Magpul handguards that you could fit on this theoretically, because it would fit onto these bars, would just not work with this heat shield. Now, you probably could modify the heat shield and or the handguard to fit, but it wouldn't be ideal, and I don't think it's necessary anyway, although there are some features on that we'll get to that I think would be nice additions for this. At the front, you get two M-LOK slots, one on each side. You can attach your light to whatever side you'd like. Now, the 590 comes in a couple different varieties in terms of muzzle. There is one, I believe, that has a not threaded barrel, a choked barrel. This one does not have chokes. This one has the breacher style muzzle brake. It doesn't really work as a muzzle brake. It's more for breaching, as these little things indicate. But, I mean, almost no one is going to be doing any breaching with the shotgun. It just looks kind of cool. Now, some models of the 590 on the heat shield have an integrated front sight, and they would also come with a Magpul rear sight. This one does not, but you can see where the screw would go in order to attach that front sight. Now, the 590R grip is pretty similar to other 590 grips. It is ribbed for your pleasure, and it is pretty easy to grab a hold onto, and you're not going to lose grip of it. The one thing I wish this did have was some M-LOK slots on the bottom right here. I know it's really picky. I just really like vertical or angled foregrips. Really niche, but it's fine. It doesn't need it. Now, with all of that out of the way, let's get on to the actual important bits about this gun, and that is the rear system. Now, in terms of controls, you have ambidextrous safety releases. You have your safe and fire position here. You also have a pump release on the left side of the gun. So if you're right-handed, you can very easily use this pump release to just press up and then pull back on the pump. This pump release is one of the big differentiators when it comes to pistol gripped shotgun conversions for normally traditional style pump action rifles, and I'll get more into this in a second. Now, as you can see, this uses a Magpul grip. It will take any AR-15 grip with or without a beaver tail. You also have a flat trigger face, and this trigger is very interesting. It is very crisp, but it's a dual stage trigger. As you can see, this is the first take-up range. At first, when I first picked up this gun, I thought it was broken because the wall was so stiff, but once you break past that wall, it is really obvious you fell, and it's a really good break. But it is a bit strange. You have to get used to it. I didn't expect to have to get used to this trigger, but you do actually have to get used to this trigger. And again, I'll get more into it in the usage part of this. Now, you do have QD points on either side just before the stock, and you also have QD points on the stock on either side. Now, this uses a piece of molded plastic for the buffer tube, but you can put any AR-15 stock on this, but I wouldn't recommend it. As you can see, this is a very, very squishy buttstock, and I absolutely love this stock. If you have a pistol-gripped shotgun and it uses AR-15 stocks, buy this stock. I cannot believe how comfortable it was to shoot and how little it did to my shoulder because of this stock. This is an amazing stock. I don't know if Mossberg sells them on their own, but if they don't, they really should. This is an amazing stock, and it really helps put this whole package together. Oh, and of course, you have one extra QD point at the bottom in the middle here. Now, it's not on here right now, but I did have the Vector Optics 1 by, I believe it's 18 Paragon prism optic. I reviewed it. You can check it out. I'll probably put it in the link in the description, but I put it on a different shotgun, so we'll leave it there. And yes, it did hold up perfectly well to the shotgun. I also put this Velcro strap on the side, not because it's needed, but because it kind of completes the look, doesn't it? So let's get into the usage of this rifle and how it was to use. So let's start with the two things that are of note that were not positive. Number one, which is not necessarily positive, but also not necessarily negative. This shotgun was a little picky on ammo. As you can see, the shotgun footage that is throughout this video has two distinct periods of time, one with snow and one without. That is because originally, when I first took this out, I was using Challenger, just birdshot, normal target loads. That really did not work well. This gun would get jammed up, and I had to really put a lot of force into pushing this back. If I required any more force, I probably would have had to mortar this. So, for whatever reason, Challenger didn't work. And then I got sidetracked, and I didn't have time. Schedules didn't line up for me to take out this specific gun. But I was able to go trap shooting, and I was able to use different ammo there. And most recently, as with the red hoodie that you're seeing, I used some Federal, and that worked flawlessly. Not a single issue, not even close. It didn't even feel like there was going to be an issue. So, it's just picky on ammo. At least this one is, but if you're going to pick up one of these, I'd say stick to Federal, maybe buy a box or two of Challenger just to see if you have any luck, but you're probably going to want to stick with something like Federal. Now, the other thing that's also not necessarily a positive, but not necessarily a negative, is the trigger. Now, the trigger feels great in the hand to use, but that two-stage nature is not ideal. This two-stage nature really messed me up a couple of times. Now, you can get really fast with this shotgun, but it's going to take a bit of practice and some learning of the manual of arms of this specific shotgun. I really love two-stage triggers in precision guns because that's where you want to take your time, make sure you get the right shot. In a shotgun and in semi-automatic rifles, I don't understand two-stage triggers. You want to be able to get your shots off as quick as possible if needed. This hampers it. You'll see a couple of times in the footage, I think I got it on camera, where I thought I pulled the trigger, but I didn't because of the two-stage nature. And you might be asking yourself, well, how, if the break is so clean, how did you miss it? It's only happened when I was rapid firing. So when I'm fully focused on trying to get the rhythm perfectly, I missed it. So again, it's manual of arms thing. I'm not going to hold it totally against a shotgun, but it's partially against a shotgun just because I don't think a two-stage trigger fits here. But like I said, it's not the end of the world. You can easily train yourself to avoid this little quirk. Now, everything else I'm about to talk about is a glowing review and endorsement. First off, the safety selector. This is an awesome safety selector. It is super easy to use, and it is so much nicer than any other shotgun that I've used that has a pistol grip. The problem with shotguns that are converted from a traditional style stock to a pistol grip is that the controls are not made for the pistol grip, right? Typically, you will have your safety selector be a crossbolt, either front or back of the trigger guard. But here's the problem. If you are wanting to very quickly engage and disengage, you can't do that. You can very quickly do one or the other, but not both. You have to move your arm or your hand in some kind of way that is not natural. Being able to keep your thumb right there and not have to break your grip is actually a game changer that I didn't expect would be so potent. It makes a huge difference. And then, of course, we get to the pump release. This is huge. The pump release is typically way out front, somewhere along the trigger guard. Sometimes they'll be along back here, but it's not very intuitive. It's very intuitive with a traditional style stock, but it's not very intuitive with pistol grip style stocks. Having it be right here, like, look at this. I don't have to do anything. I can just push this up, and I don't have to break my grip at all. It is amazing. I think Mossberg has set the standard for what controls on a conversion traditional to pistol grip stock should be like. Now, the other thing that doesn't get talked about too much is the collapsible stock. Now, you can get adjustable style stocks, like Benelli has their twist kind of style stock, but I find that it's never quite good enough, and a lot of shotguns just have fixed style stock. So, for example, I have a friend who has an A300. It's a great shotgun, except if he ever gives it to me for like a round of trap or, you know, to shoot off a couple rounds, it is extremely uncomfortable for me because it's so short. With this, you can really easily just adjust to whoever wants to shoot it, and you don't have to worry about a long process to add more plates or whatever. It is instant. It's just like an AR-15 stock, right? That's what makes AR-15 so great, because it can be adapted to whatever you're doing. On the other hand, I normally have, or I prefer, longer style stocks. I'm at the back or second to last, and then my friends can't use them comfortably. So having an adjustable stock like this is fantastic for, you know, loaning out a shotgun for a game of trap or to hunt or whatever. This is actually a big difference. Now, in terms of accuracy, this was not the most accurate shotgun ever. I was able to get, I think, somewhere between 14 and 16 on a game of trap, which is not terrible, but I know I can do a lot better. My best is like 20 or 21. So I found it a bit difficult. Although I will say, if you get a dedicated shotgun reticle, you might have more success. I think the prism I was using on it was holding me back a little bit, but the lack of chokes on this model definitely hurt it. If you got the model with the chokes, I think you would have a lot more success for trap shooting, which also leads to hunting. So if you are buying this specifically for, say, duck hunting or bird hunting or whatever, and you also do some trap, you're going to want the one with chokes. If you're using this more for competition or for home defense or something like that, I'd probably go with this one. So who is this for? Well, this is a pretty easy recommendation. I think this is for almost everyone. The only person this isn't for is the FUD in your life or someone who just hates pistol grips for whatever reason. If you have someone who is okay to pistol grips or is open to pistol grip shotguns or has an AR-15 but wants a shotgun, this is an outstanding choice. It is super comfortable to use for hunting, for sport shooting, for competition, for home defense. This would be excellent. You have the M-lock slots for a light. And of course, you can put a red dot on this, easily keep both eyes open, make sure you have full situational awareness. I can't recommend this thing enough. It is truly an amazing shotgun that fits almost everyone, except for the people that hate pistol grip shotguns on principle. So it's a bit of a shorter who is this for, but that's just because the answer is pretty simple. So that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this look at the 590. I have way more videos coming out soon. Some bolt actions, another shotgun. So keep an eye out and watch for those reviews to come out over the next few weeks. But that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching and have a good day.